Hello and welcome to TV25 Sports. I'm Evan Woodward along with Jeff Mulder bringing you tonight's game between the Hazlet Vikings and the Perry Ramblers. Tonight's contest is one like none other that we have ever seen here at Hazlet. If the Vikings win tonight, they will move on to become ICL champions for the first time since 1986. And this would mean a whole lot to the Vikings, the team, the players, the coaches, the parents. Everyone here at Hazlet. It'll be a time of rejoicing if the Vikings can pull off the victory tonight. Now, the Perry Ramblers come into tonight with a much different story, Jeff. They have a very small team this year of under 20 players, and they stand at 1-6. And nothing but heart is going to carry those Perry Ramblers past the Vikings tonight, Jeff. And the biggest lineup change for the Vikings tonight is Nick Shively is going to return at the quarterback helm and replace Pat Saltzgaber. Shively went out earlier in the season after the fourth game with a knee injury, and Saltzgaber backed up and very, very well, winning 3 games. Jeff, do you think this is going to throw the team off at all?
I don't think so. I think Nick he was the starter at the season, and I think they still feel that he's a starter, and I think the team is very confident with Nick, but I also think they're very confident with Pat, and they showed with the victories that Pat led them to.
So the team, I think, has showed a lot of promise with both quarterbacks at the helm, and no one knows better, though, than Coach Otluski. And we spoke with him before the game, and here's what Coach O had to say.
Many people, including myself, were very surprised when Hazlet came out undefeated after 7 games. How have your preseason goals compared with how things are going now?
Well, actually, our preseason goals have matched up very nicely with our current status.
Mm-hmm.
You know, each year I've been here where our goal is to win the ICL, make the state playoffs, and eventually win the state championship. And Friday nights, we're set to at least accomplish goal number 1.
Mm-hmm.
So not a shock. We knew that we'd have a good team if we stayed healthy, and for the most part, we've stayed fairly healthy.
This weekend we host Perry, who's 1-6. Now, despite their record, is there anything you might have to change in the playbook to match up evenly with it again?
Not really. I mean, we're still going to do what there's an old adage, that you worry about what you do and do it well, and we're going to stick with that. There's some things that Perry does a pretty good job of. In despite of their 1-6 record, they do have some good athletes, but they're struggling right now. But we're going to just do what we've been doing, week in and week out, and that's going to run the ball and try to mix it up like last week we did with throwing the ball a little bit as well.
Yeah. How does it feel to be ranked number 1 in the state in Class BB, and does that title put any pressure on you or the team?
How does it feel? Oh, it's a nice honor, but it's very premature. And one of the things that we always want to do as our third goal is to be ranked number 1 at the end of the year. That carries obviously much more weight. Those kinds of things are nice. But they really aren't worth anything. I used to always say that they were worth about as much as the paper that they're printed on.
Yeah.
But it's nice, and you get to read it and that kind of thing. But you really don't put any stock in it.
Also, if the playoffs are held here in Hazlet, what added pressure would that put on you guys to perform well in front of like a home crowd? And
I don't think it put any added pressure on. In fact, being able to host in the playoffs, it's a neat and it's exciting. It's great for the community and the school. It's very exciting. So at home, if in the playoffs, if you have to have a choice, you'd rather play at home.
Yeah.
But there's no added pressure. It's just another home game, and and that kind of thing. So no added pressure, but it's very exciting.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, we're excited about playing Perry because we have a chance to win the trophy outright, and so we're very focused and we're very excited for this game Friday night.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
All right, welcome back here to Vikings Stadium as we look at the team here coming off after their entrance onto the field. The Vikings going to have to play strong tonight. They can't overlook the Ramblers. Despite the fact that Perry's only won 1 game, Jeff, you can't just think of them as pushovers.
No, you definitely can't, because anything can happen in a game like this. I mean, Hazlet could come in with a big head. I mean, 7-0 against 1-6. I mean, usually you just write it off, but Perry can be dangerous, and some fumbles or some interceptions or some turnovers or something weird happens, Perry could walk out of here with a win.
That's very, very true, Jeff. Big plays can amount for a lot in games like this. And if Hazlet turns the ball over a lot or Perry's able to capitalize on any mistakes, it could lead to a much closer game than expected.
Definitely, definitely. Hazlet should be the team that comes out with a victory here, as the record and the way that they've been playing, but you never know what's going to happen, so.
Anything can happen in football, whether it's high school, college, pro, and anything can and will does happen. And although it's highly unlikely that the Ramblers will get a victory tonight, Hazlitt cannot afford to make those mental errors. I think, Jeff, that all they're going to do is they're going to come out, they're going to play their game, they're going to run the ball, and they're just going to keep it on the ground all night and wear down that Perry defense, because Perry, with only about 15 players dressed tonight, is not going to have a lot of depth going either way. And what's going to happen is if Perry can stop the Hazlitt running game in the beginning, the defense is going to start to deteriorate with fatigue, and then once the flood breaks, the water will flow. Once the dam breaks, the water will flow, and it will flood. Let me tell you, Jeff, it will flood if the Ramblers are not able to contain the Vikings running game. The Vikings will run all night and merciless here against the Ramblers.
Definitely, definitely. Hazlitt should just stick to their game plan of running. Got 3 great running backs.
Yes, they can run it with Logan Barnhart, Steve Shepard, or Peter Eric. We've talked about them so much, Jeff, but they're such key, very intricate players to this team. Logan Barnhart comes into tonight's game breaking the 1,000-yard mark. He's got 1,020 yards on the season so far. And Eric's picked up 674, Shepard with 563. So all 3 big contributors over that 5-century mark there, Jeff.
Yes, but the big things about those numbers is that Barnhart's averaging 10.2 yards a carry, Shepard's averaging 6.3, and Eric's averaging 6.7 yards. So it's not a lot of carries that are getting them the yards. It's a great offensive line and them running hard.
Few big carries, that's all you need. And when you average 6 yards a carry, Jeff, you think you can run on pretty much anyone. And the Vikings haven't really had a lapse in their running game, except for a couple weeks ago against the Fowlerville Gladiators. The Gladiators put 10 men up in the box, and it made it very difficult on Hazlitt to run that ball.
We'll have to see if Perry scouted that game, and maybe they go with 10 or 9 people up in the box like Fowlerville did, and maybe possibly that could work.
Well, it appears as though the Ramblers are going to be kicking off to the Vikings here to start things off tonight. It appears that the kicker for the Ramblers is number 88, Mark Garnell. And back deep to receive for the Vikings, the usual dynamic duo of Logan Barnhart, and it appears Peter Eric back there. And both of these guys can be very, very dangerous. Barnhart's returned to kick for a touchdown this year. And it'll be interesting to see whether Garnell kicks it towards Barnhart or towards Eric, or maybe even just go short with it.
I would suspect that he would go short with it here.
Here it goes, and he is going to go short with it, and it's tipped by number 57 for the Vikings. And
Jason Bamford.
Bamford tipped it. Maybe not the smartest play in the world. He might have wanted to let that one go over his head, but Jacob Kleinert covering up big time for the Vikings, grabbing a hold of that ball. That could have been disastrous right from the start of the things, Jeff.
A smart play by Jake there to just grab the ball and get down with it.
Yeah, Jake, Jake made a very wise decision, not even trying to run the ball, just trying to get possession of it and hold it up. And as a result, the Vikings have got excellent field position starting off on their own 45-yard line. Now, as we said earlier, Shively will be the starting quarterback, and we've got a split left and 2 men in the backfield, and Shively looks back to throw. He's going to go deep. He's got a man open. It's caught by Barnhart down at the 15-yard line, and what a play to start off the game, Jeff. I don't think anyone expected Hazlitt to go to the air on the first offensive play of the game.
Well, Perry definitely did not expect Hazlitt to go to the air, and it worked, though. A little trickery, maybe. Going right to there.
I don't know if it was necessarily trickery, but I think that Perry must have done some scouting and thought that Hazlitt was not going to be throwing the ball, and they put it up on the very first play of the game.
Barnhart's got some great speed out there, and if he can get by some people, if he wouldn't have had to wait for the ball there, he probably could have been in the end zone.
Yeah, he picked that ball right up and took it down to the 15. Shively, and he drew some people off sides, but then 2 linemen moved, so both teams will be pointing fingers here, and I think this one's going to be against Hazlitt, Jeff. Yes, it's going to be a false start on the Vikings. Now, here's another look at that play. Shively's going to look. He's going to wait and let Barnhart get free, and as you can see, he got behind the defender, but he had to turn around and go back for the ball. It wasn't a bad ball by Shively. It was just a little behind him. So the Vikings are going to move back to the 20, though, after that penalty, and it's going to be first down, 15 yards to go. Shively hands it to Shepard off that left side. Shepard pounds one man, moves the pile forward, picking up about 5-6 yards on the carry.
There's Shepard showing that strength. Takes about 3-4 guys to bring him down on that one.
Yes, you know that when you run the ball with Steve Shepard, the first man to make contact is not going to be enough to bring him down. So he moves that forward about 5 yards. That'll give the Vikings a 2nd down and 10, remembering the penalty. Looks like we've got a wing left, and that is Ehrig, and then we've got Shepard and Barnhart in the backfield. Scheibele fakes the ball to Shepard, rolls to his right, looking to go to the end zone, and just overthrows Jeff Smith.
That looked like Saltzgaber out there, actually.
Actually, it was, yes, number 83, Pat Saltzgaber. My mistake there, Jeff. Pat Saltzgaber's number 83, Jeff Smith number 82. Both very, very tall and big targets for Scheibele to hit.
Yeah, a little bit of a surprise it has. It's passed this many times, but maybe they scouted the Ramblers and maybe their secondary is a little bit weak. As Pat was open, it was just a little bit of an overthrow there by Scheibele.
Yes, the Vikings passing twice already on this drive. And here's Scheibele. And he's going to give it off the right side to Ehrig. He's got the corner, but we got a holding call, and it's going to be coming back. It looks like Steve Shepard got his hand up in the face of the defender, and it's going to be coming back. Flag is spotted at about the 16, and let's see what the official sign is here. And we've got a hold against the Vikings. So that's going to take them back 10 yards, Jeff, and that kind of hurts because that's going to bring them out, almost out of field goal range here.
Yeah, that's going to be a long field goal attempt if they can't move the ball that well on this 3rd down.
It's going to be interesting to see if Coach Otluski is going to opt to go for a running play, passing, you know, maybe a little trickery. I'm not sure what you would do in this situation here, Jeff.
We'll have to wait and see if Perry accepts the penalty here.
And actually,
Yeah,
they're going to, and that's going to move the ball back another 10 yards. So that's going to be about 3rd down and 20 yards. The line to make is the 5-yard line, and Hazlitt standing back on about their own 26-yard line, so it's actually 21 yards to go. So we'll see what they have to do here. They've just got that wing tee backfield in there. Scheibele. He's going to drop back. Straight drop, and he falls. He's going to be down. He was hit late. No call from the official. Scheibele upset about it, but he's going to move backwards, and the Vikings without much choice here. They're back at about their own 33, which would make for a tremendously long field goal. It's a long 4th down anyhow.
But it'd be interesting to see if they go for it, if they just punt the ball away, being relatively deep into Perry territory here.
Yes, I wouldn't be surprised if Otluski decides to take a shot at the end zone here, and they've got a wing left with Ehrig. Shepard, Barnhart in the backfield. Scheibele. He's going to hand it off to Shepard, reverse to Ehrig, and he barely keeps his footing, moving off that right-hand side, trying to cut it back up, and he'll be tackled at the 20-yard line. And Ehrig would have been able to pick up much, much better yardage had he been able to keep his footing off that right side, but the ball's going to go over to Perry. And how big of a surprise is that, Jeff?
That's a little bit of a surprise after that first play. Maybe, you know, Hazlitt picked up a little momentum, but after that first play, it looks like Hazlitt offense was a little bit slow and sluggish, and Perry's defense, with the help of a few penalties, played very well after giving up big yardage on that first play.
Yeah, the Vikings had problems. Right when they got that first down, they were called on that offside penalty that set them back for 5 yards, and then we had the holding call. So the Vikings went backwards on that drive. We've got an I formation, wing right for Perry, and he's going to give it right up the middle. It appears like he gave it to number 40, Isaac Mitchell, and actually, no, was it number 42 there, Jeff?
I think 40. 42 looks like the quarterback, Shansky.
Yes, Drew Shansky is the quarterback tonight, and Isaac Mitchell was the runner there on that play. For some reason, he's listed on my roster as a guard, but obviously he's not.
Well, when you don't have that many people could probably switch around quite often.
Well, Perry's got splits left, splits right, in a pro backfield here. And he's going to hand it up the middle to Mitchell again, and he breaks free. Just for a moment, though, before he's tackled there by number 30, Ben Murray.
Good hard running there by Mitchell as he shrugged off the first man and gained a few extra yards for Perry.
Yeah, he was able to pick up a good 3-4 yards there up the middle, and he shrugged off a few Viking tackles there. It's going to bring up a 3rd down, about 4 yards to go. And Perry staying in the huddle a little while. Let's see what they call here. Shansky comes to the line. They got a pro backfield, double tights, and wing right. The wing right man's going to go in motion to the left side. He's going to hand it off, and looked like Ben Murray was there, but he handed it off to number 34, Mark Hammond, and actually it was Jeremy Telfor there on the stop. And it's going to be fourth and about 2 feet here, Jeff. And what do you do here if you're the Ramblers? You're the underdog, and you're playing an undefeated team at their field. Are you going to go for it here, or are you just going to have to punt?
I think you got to have to punt because I think it's a little bit too deep in their own territory, and it's a little too early in the game right now.
And Perry set to punt here, and it's a low punt. It's going to bounce at about the 45 and take a Viking bounce, and they better look out not to touch the ball. And the Vikings are actually going to get the ball in Perry territory, about the 47-yard line.
Not a very good punt there by number 32.
And for some reason, Jeff, we don't have very many fans here in the Perry section. And we've got a decent turnout here for the Vikings, but not as much as we had expected for such a big night here. I mean, the Ramblers are supposed to be not that difficult of a team to beat, but with an ICL championship here on the line, you'd expect to see more people. Shively's going to take over, 1st and 10 at the Perry 46. And it looks like he gave it to Eric there off the right side. He's got room. Eric moves it for about 8 yards before he's brought down there by number 42, Drew Shansky.
There it is right there, that 6, 7, 8 yards on 1st down. That's really helping Hazlitt out right now.
Can't ask for a better 1st down play than that, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, bringing up a 2nd and 2 here, I mean,
this gives you a lot of options because the defense might assume that you'll just go for the short running play to pick up the 1st down, but you can always go to the air here and leave that 2 yards to be picked up on 3rd down. And we've got movement there. Number 65, Dave Davich, moved prematurely there. And that's going to bring the Vikings back 5 yards, and they just can't shoot themselves in the foot like this here tonight, Jeff.
Looks like possibly that the offensive line maybe just a little bit used to Saltzgaber's voice after those 3 games, and Shively coming in, maybe they need a little work when getting used to Nick's count.
Yeah, the cadences from quarterbacks always differ, but you got to be careful when you're on the offensive line not to move early. Well, we've got the same set here in Shively, and he drops the ball. It's kicked around, and actually it looks like Ben Brook was there. Maybe, I think that was Brook grabbing the fumble. And the Vikings very, very lucky to get the ball back there.
Hazlitt is playing very, very sloppy football right now.
Extremely sloppy football, Jeff. This is not characteristic of the Vikings. Ben Brook is able to grab the ball, but we've had these penalties, and we've also had that fumble there, Jeff, that's made things kind of difficult on the Vikings. And now they've got a 3rd down and long, about 13 yards to go. Shively gets under center. And he gives it right up the middle. It's Barnhart. He breaks loose off that right side. He's got a 1st down and much, much more as he gets down inside the 25-yard line for the Vikings. And that was a big play there, Jeff.
That's what the Hazlitt offense is used to seeing right there. Big gaping holes for their runners just to go through and pick up big yards. And smart call to go to Logan there, probably their feature back. And
yes, Logan, one of the top runners on the team, obviously, and he was the receiver on that first play on that long pass, and that's the first time he's ran the ball so far tonight. Very successful. Shively calls the cadence, and it looks like he gave it to Barnhart again, and he's trying to find more room on that right side. He didn't have anything, but he manages to squeeze about 5 yards out of that one, Jeff.
A very good run there by Barnhart to bounce it outside and pick up a few extra yards where he could have just gone down, stayed in the middle, and picked up 2 or 3 yards.
Yeah, one of the defenders made initial contact with him in the backfield, and Barnhart thought that there was no hole, so he bounced it outside. And that's a sign of a great back, Jeff, making something out of nothing.
The offense starting to look a little better here now.
Shively. He's going to give it to Shepard off the left side, and Shepard barrels forward for about 6 more Viking yards. That's going to bring him down to about the 10-yard line. Isaac Mitchell was the man who made the stop for the Ramblers. And Come the Vikings. Up the 11-yard line here. They could still get a first down inside the 1. Shively. And it looks like he kept it. He faked it to Aragon very well, and a lot of the Rambler defenders bought it. And Shively moves it down inside the 3-yard line. Right around the 2 or the 3-yard line. It's going to bring up a second down and short. What'd you think about the call there, Jeff?
I thought it was a good call. I mean, Perry could have thought pass on that play when Shively rolled out like that, and they sold the fakes very well on that one.
Yeah, it was a nice play there by the Vikings. As I thought that he being Shively, handed it right off to Eric on that right side again, but he held on to the ball. Second down, deep inside Rambler territory. Shively, and he gave it to Eric, and he is in for the score, and the Vikings first on the board here. They're going to go up 6-0. 3:48 remaining in the first quarter, and the Vikings have drawn first blood here, Jeff.
Big hole there for Eric to run through, and he didn't really have to do much, but still moved in the end zone there.
Big play for the Vikings, and here's another look. J.J. Danhoff set to kick the extra point. He has been a big asset for the Vikings. Helps Gaber to hold. Danhoff puts it through. J.J. Danhoff, before tonight's game, had made 25 of 28 extra points, and that is just phenomenal for a high school kicker. And the Vikings go up 7-0 here late in the first quarter over the Ramblers. A lot of time being consumed while the Vikings had the ball there, Jeff.
Yeah, after a few mistakes again on the second drive, Hazlitt's offense picked it up and started looking like the Hazlitt offense that we've been seeing all season and put in the end zone.
Yeah, that big run by Logan definitely helping things out when they had the 3rd and long situation, and Barnhart busted it for about 25 yards off the right side.
Yes, that seemed to boost their confidence, really help out the team.
There's definitely room to run for the Vikings. You've got 3 men back deep for the Ramblers. Look at Coach Port. Very, very intense coach here at Hazlitt, the defensive coordinator, as his defense is about ready to take the field. Port spends a lot of time viewing film and figuring out different schemes to combat the opposition. Very, very hard-working coach. And the kick is going to go off to the far sideline. It's picked up there by number 20, Justin Morris. And he finds room on the right-hand side. Danhoff over there to help make the stop. But he reversed his field and moves it out to about his own 42-yard line before Hazlitt was able to make the stop.
Very good run back there, and also a very good play by J.J. Danhoff to stay back as that safety and then make a nice tackle.
Now, an interesting thing here, Jeff. J.J. Danhoff making the tackle as a kicker. Earlier this week, I was watching an NFL Films production about Matt Barr, who's an old kicker for the Cleveland Browns, Pittsburgh Steelers, as well as the New York Giants. And he was one of those kickers that didn't mind making tackles, and that kind of reminded me of him right there as J.J. Danhoff made that play. Now here, watch as he's going to go off the right side, and none of the Vikings have great pursuit. And play was cut off there. You couldn't quite see it, but Danhoff moved up and helped make the stop there. And that's really important that a kicker just doesn't stay back and allow things to happen, because if he does, it could have been 6 the other way.
That looks like number 34, Mark Hammond on the carry there.
And he moved it for about 8 yards there on first down. It's going to bring his team up to a second down, 2 yards to go.
So a good play for Perry to come back after that Hazlitt touchdown, showing that they feel confident still. And
it's going to be very important for the Ramblers to be able to move the ball here on this possession. They've got an I formation, backfield, wing right, double tight end. Shansky sends his man in motion off the left side. He's going to hand it to the tailback, and he is going to plow forward for about 3 yards there. He'll pick up 34, Mark Hammond on the carry again.
He'll pick up the first down on that play, and Perry comes out, and they look good right now.
Yeah, the Ramblers look like they might actually be able to run the ball in the Viking defense here. They've had some mild success at it so far, and if they keep going to it, the Vikings are going to have to figure out a way to stop them. Still earlier in this game, 2:40 remaining in the first quarter. Shansky, I formation, wing left. Fakes the handoff, option left. Shansky keeps it. Jeremy Telfor was right there to jump on his back and help pull him down. And Shansky only picked up about a yard there, Jeff.
Pack of Vikings there to make the tackle with Telfor, and Good defensive play there by the Vikings.
You think we can expect to see a lot more option out of these guys tonight, Jeff?
I'm not really familiar with Perry's team, but I know that Shansky is very, very quick, and I could see option coming in, but looks like they're having more success right now running the ball up the middle.
Very talented runner, and we've got a penalty flag here. It came in the Hazlitt linebacking core, was where it was thrown by the umpire, and this is going to be an interesting call. And the official, is that an unsportsmanlike conduct call there, Jeff?
It sounds,
Or
that's what it
maybe-
looks like to
maybe
me.
Equipment?
I'm really not sure what that signal means right there, but
Well, they're moving the ball.
it's a 15-yard
15
penalty.
yards. That had to be unsportsmanlike conduct. And Mark Trotter's coming off the field. I don't know what's going on here, Jeff. And there was no Perry men in the backfield, and all of a sudden I just saw the penalty flag fly. And you have to wonder if maybe someone was using language or something. But it was unsportsmanlike conduct. And here's first down. Dropping back to throw. Looks, he's got a man, but he drops the ball. The pass was intended for number 83, Steve Hill. And he dropped it over there on the far sideline.
Good throw by Shansky there as he was under heavy pressure by 2 or 3 Vikings, and his receiver just couldn't make the catch on that one.
Definitely showed his speed there, rolling out to his right. Didn't have much problem evading those Vikings. It's going to bring up a second down, 10 yards to go at the Hazlitt 30-yard line. And that 15-yard penalty really hurt the Vikings.
Yeah, that puts Perry right in position to maybe get one in the end zone on the Vikings if they can move the ball a little bit. It really helps the Ramblers out on that penalty.
Yeah, the Ramblers beginning to threaten now here. I formation, wing left. Shansky fakes the handoff, rolls right. He's got Stocker and Butler, and he evades both of them. Harden now is going to pull him down on the far sideline, and what a play there by Shansky to avoid the loss as he didn't have any men open downfield.
He showed his quickness there to get around Stocker and Butler, who aren't super quick defensive linemen, but they're not slow either.
Yes, it was a great play there by Shansky to evade both of them. And loses about a yard on the play, but could have lost a lot more than that had he been caught in the backfield.
Very athletic play by Shansky there to just get back towards the line of scrimmage there.
And you have to think that Perry has no choice but to put it up in the air again here, Jeff, as we've got third down and long. We've got split left, split right, pro formation backfield for Shansky. He's going to play action pass, and he's under heavy pressure, tries to run it, and he is not going to be able to do that. A host of Vikings right there to stop him. That's going to bring up fourth down and long. Now, Jeff, do you pooch punt this and try to pin Hazlitt back, or do you just go ahead and go for it?
I think I'm going to have to say that I would probably go ahead and go for it there on that one. 30-yard line.
It looks like Mark Stocker may have injured his arm on that play. He was running off very, very strangely and perhaps might have been hurt. The officials called a timeout very briefly, but Mark has run off to the sideline now. And Perry has elected to punt here, and back deep to receive for the Vikings is Alex Williams. And it's going to go bounce, and it takes a Perry bounce. They're going to be able to down it deep in Hazlitt territory, and they do, inside the 10-yard line. Down at about the 7-yard line. The punt was punted by number 32, but the rosters we have up here do not say his name, Jeff.
Yeah, it was a very nice punt by number 32 there.
Wasn't a bad kick.
And it looks like Hazlitt's defense is definitely up to the task of stopping Perry's pass, and if Perry's going to move the ball at all, they're going to have to stick to the run.
It's going to be interesting to see how good the Vikings offense here is on this possession. They're deep in their own territory. They got a lot of green in front of them, but they're going to call a timeout here, and I'm not quite sure why. But the Vikings back deep in their own end zone, and Otluski's going to go have a word with the official. As you can see from the shot right here, Otluski's conversing with him, and the offense is right here, and he tells him to back off so he can have a private conversation. He must be upset about that unsportsmanlike conduct call or something, or trying to get an explanation down there. He's visibly very upset. And as a coach, you hate to have penalties called against your team because all you do is shoot yourself in the foot over that.
The defense was able to rise to the occasion after the penalty, and
That's very important to have a defense that's able to make stops very, very often. They've played very well this year, Jeff. They shut out Fowlerville just 2 weeks ago in a big homecoming game. That really put Hazlitt in the driver's seat for the ICL title. And the only obstacle left in their way is the Perry Ramblers here tonight. And it appears the timeout is over, and the Vikings are going to have their first down here at the 7-yard line. Lewski will head back to the sideline. I'm just going to assume, Jeff, that he was discussing something with the referees about that penalty call.
I think that would be a good assumption, Evan.
Shively gets under center. Wing T backfield. And it looks like he gave it to... No, he kept it. Looked like he gave it to Ehrig, and Shively found some room off the right side. Picked up some good yardage there.
A good tackle there by number 20, Justin Morris. If he wouldn't have made the tackle, Shively still could be running at this point.
Yeah, Shively picked up over 10 yards on that play, and that's going to move the chains for the Vikings.
Very good first down play when you're buried deep in your own end of the field.
Yeah, I'll tell you, getting a little real estate there really helps, but those fakes were just phenomenal by Shively, and he had the defense fooled. And we were fooled as well up here in the booth. And that run is not going to go anywhere, as he handed the ball right up the middle to Barnhart, and there wasn't much room in the core of that Rambler defense.
So Perry's defense comes back and makes a good play after the Shively run to stop Barnhart.
Second down, 10 yards to go for the Vikings. Perry looks like maybe making a couple substitutions here. Shively calls a long cadence and hands it to Ehrig off that right side. Ehrig's got room as he cuts it back up the middle, and it appears that he got the first down out across the 32.
And that'll be the last play of the first quarter, and once again the Hazlitt offensive line opened up another big hole for the running backs to run through and pick up good yardage.
Good solid yardage there provided by the line, and when you're running behind almost an entire senior line, it's just got to be a dream for the backs.
Yeah, when you got a line that's that experienced and knows what goes on down there, it's a real big asset for the team and for those running backs.
A lot more goes into the offensive line than people really realize. It's not just a bunch of big guys down there having a pillow fight, trying to move people out of the way. A lot of intricate blocking schemes, especially in this wing T offense. Like if you're a guard, you have to pull on nearly every other play and lead for your running back, and it's not easy to be able to do these things. And it's not all just X's and O's. You never know if the defensive man is going to shift or attempt to swim move you or do whatever. It's not exactly what people think down there on that offensive line, and those guys deserve just as much credit as the running backs do, because the running backs would not be able to go anywhere without that big offensive line in front of them.
Yeah, the offensive line is you need to be smart and you need to be very athletic to pull and know who to block if your man moves. And
there have been many, many men who have said that football games are always won in the trenches, and I definitely agree with that, Jeff. If you're able to control the play on the offensive line, then you're going to be able to move that ball.
And Hazlitt is proof of that this year. I mean, they rarely throw the ball, and yet they're 7-0 and beating teams.
Beating some big teams, including DeWitt, Portland, and Fowlerville, as well as Adrian and Jackson Northwest. Hazlitt also defeated Stockbridge last week. And here's a first down and 10. Shively handed it to Barnhart, and he's wrapped up in the backfield. A big play there by number 52, Matt Hart. It's going to set him back for about a yard there.
So it looks like Perry's defense is maybe keen on Barnhart a little bit more after that big 25-yard run to pick up a first down late in the first quarter.
Hazlitt's got to be concerned about the defensive line getting penetration there. They can't allow that to happen like it did in the Fowlerville game. That can really stall out the offense. Shively working with a second down, 11 yards to go. And he's going to give it to Shepard. He's got all kinds of room off the left side. Barrels over a tackler for the first down. And we said it takes more than one man to bring him down, and he ran right over number 42, Drew Shansky.
That was an absolutely gigantic hole for Shepard to run through. There was nobody within 10 yards of him when he got the ball.
Here's another look at that play. Chansky didn't really make the tackle there. He was just kind of in the way, and Shepard bowled him right over. First down, 10 yards to go for the Vikings. Shively, they're going to give it to Shepard again, but he's caught in the backfield. Still manages to pull ahead for 3 yards there, Jeff.
Just let the man come for a ride there on that one. Number 27, John Hohenstein, makes the tackle, and Shepard just kind of carried him until a few other Perry guys could come and help him out.
How important is it, Jeff, to have that one power back and then go to the 2 men that have both speed and power? And I'm not saying that Shepard doesn't have speed, because he's definitely showed it before, but he's definitely the strongest of the 3 runners.
It's very important for this Haslett team.
Shively. And he fakes it to Ehrig. He's going to throw. He's got Shepard wide open. Shepard catches it. First down and more as he cuts it back to the 40. Inside the 35. First down, Vikings.
Great play there, great fakes, and Shepard was wide open, and he shows that he's got good speed by getting out there.
Boy, he really turned on the Jets when he caught that play. Now watch this great fake here by Shively. How important is that, Jeff?
It's very important to have good fakes if you're going to run the wing tee offense, because the whole offense is based on how good your fakes are going to be.
It's going to bring up a first down inside Perry territory. And Shively looks like he kept it again, and he's going to go deep and just overthrows number 22, Peter Ehrig. That's 4 times Haslett's gone to the air already tonight, Jeff.
A little bit of surprise there as Haslett feels that they can throw on Perry, obviously, and 4 times in the first half is almost equal to their first 5-game total.
Yeah, the Vikings not opting to go to the air very much at all so far this season, and Shively has shown that he has the ability to throw the ball very well, and the Vikings can catch it. And they've completed 2 of 4 here tonight. Shively. And it looks like it looks to me like he gave it to Shepard, but he didn't. He gave it to Ehrig, and he's gone off the right side. Touchdown, Vikings. I was completely fooled there, Jeff.
Well, Haslett came with a counter on that one, and Ehrig had another big hole, and Perry kind of fell for the fake to Shepard, and if Ehrig can get just a little bit of room, he's going to go a long ways. We got a replay on
Looks
this one.
to me like Shepard had the ball. Another great fake here. See, they went after Shepard, and Ehrig just had that gaping hole on the right-hand side and rambles all the way into the end zone. No pun intended. J.J. Danhoff to attempt the extra point. Saltz gave her a hole. Danhoff puts it up, and it's good. The Vikings go up 14-0 on the Perry Ramblers with 9:42 remaining here in the second quarter.
Very strong drive there by the Vikings. The offensive line just overpowering Perry's defensive line, and the backs just running through the holes there.
Anytime you start a drive inside your own 10-yard line and are able to get down and score a touchdown, it's a big, big boost for your offense. And it looks like Haslett's not going to have that much trouble moving the ball on Perry as long as they can keep men from penetrating the offensive line and catching the backs in the backfield. Danhoff's going to kick it off here. And you got to think, if you're Perry, you might want to maybe change things around here a little bit on offense. The drive was working for a while, and then it stalled out. You got to get the ball moving if you want to stay in this game. We said it before, Jeff. Perry's going to have a lot of heart to stay in this one.
I'm sure Perry will come back strong, though, on this drive.
The kick is going to go off the left side, and I don't agree with that flag there, Jeff. It looks like the ball was touched, and they're going to call an out-of-bounds penalty here for kicking the ball out, but it looked to me like the Perry man touched it. All right, well, we're going to go down to our field correspondent, Dr. Josh Hoisington. Josh?
About this year's football season, this game in general?
Well, it's pretty awesome. You know, we're really good this year. I just love being a part of it all. Haslett football rocks!
Yeah, all right. Now back to you, Evan.
All right, thank you, Josh. We've got very, very well-spoken students here at Haslett High School. And
A lot of support this year from the Hazlitt students. As
Yes,
the Vikings are 7-0 this year, looking to go 8-0 and win the ICL title.
the support has been just absolutely terrific. Perry's going to set up here with an I formation wing left, and he's going to give it right up the middle. And not much room there as he gave it to number 40, Isaac Mitchell. And he was stopped after a gain of about 2-3 yards.
A lot of Vikings there to make the tackle.
Surprisingly, though, he was able to move the pile forward to pick up that extra yard. And sometimes whichever way the pile goes can really determine whether you're going to end up picking that first down up or not. Second down, about 7 yards to go. Pro formation backfield. Wing left. Shansky is going to hand it to Mitchell again. He's got all kinds of room up the middle, and he's going to move it forward for the first down, nearing Viking territory here.
Big hole there for Mitchell to run through, and made a nice cut there after he got through the hole and picked up the first down for Perry. And Perry starts off another drive running very well up the middle, and we'll see if they stay up the middle or if they go to the air. Maybe they think they can pass. Last drive, that's what killed them, is when they went to the air, so we'll see if they stay on the ground.
The Vikings electing to go for speed down there on the interior line. They've got Shepard and Brad Hildebrand down there. Hildebrand has always been known for his aggressiveness down there on the line. When he showed it there, he made his way into the backfield. Wasn't able to make the tackle, but Perry only picking up about a yard there. Now here's a look at Coach Alewski discussing some things over with his backs and linemen, trying to get that offense going. It's been looking pretty good, but they've had some problems with penalties and men getting into the backfield, and I'm sure that's what Alewski is going over with his players right now.
Here comes Perry. Second down, about 8 yards to go, right on the 50-yard line.
Ramblers with an I formation backfield, wing left. Shansky hands it to the tailback, and he's going to move forward. Picks up some good yardage there. It's going to bring up a third down, about 3 yards to go.
Looks like number 34, Mark Hammond, there on the carry.
Strong run there.
Offensive line of Perry is not doing a bad job at all. They're not. When Perry wants to run out the middle, it looks like they can pick up 4 or 5 yards.
They haven't busted a big play yet, Jeff, but only time can tell. They've been able to run the ball and effectively and against the Vikings so far. And Shansky is going to roll left, pitches it out, and the man cuts it up. It looks like he was stopped just shy of the first down on that far sideline. Let's see where they spot the ball.
It's going to be very close there, Evan.
And they're going to call official timeout for measurement. And it looks, from what I can see here, Jeff, that they didn't get it, but you never know with those officials where they're going to spot the ball.
I'm going to have to agree with you. It doesn't look like they got it. It looks like they're just a little bit short.
All right, we're going to go back down to Josh Hoisington here. Back down here with Josh Hoisington.
Josh, Paul, and so do you guys think we're going to make it to the finals this year in the Dome?
Heck yeah, we're going to make it to the finals this year because our football team is awesome.
All right, so Paul, you got anything to add to that?
Yes, I think we're going to definitely make it because Coach Alewski doesn't put up with any crap.
That's good. So you hear it from the students.
All right, back up here in the booth, we've got a critical fourth down play here. Just a little less than a foot here for Shansky and the Ramblers. And Shansky's going to give it up the middle. And number 40, Brian Mitchell, is going to move the pile forward, or Isaac Mitchell, excuse me, and move the pile forward for the first down.
So our students seem very confident with our football team this year, Evan.
Students seem extremely confident. As we know, though, winning the Ingham County League and winning the state championship can be two very different things. I'm not doubting at all the quality of our football team, Jeff. But it gets very, very, very difficult once you step out of your regular season play and into those playoffs, because every team that's there deserves to be there. And the opponents get much rougher. Shansky's going to throw. He's got a blitz on Cahill, and he's going to throw it. It's not going to be intentional grounding because he had a receiver over there, number 83, Steve Hill, and he almost was able to make the reception.
Nice play by Shansky to get rid of the ball, but then give his receiver a little bit of a chance to make a catch on that one. As you can see, Cahill comes in very, very quick, and Shansky just kind of tosses it out there. but gets rid of it. And
Now, Jeff, do you think he got it near the receiver by blind luck, or do you think he actually spotted the man?
I'm going to have to say blind luck on that one because it didn't look like he was really looking towards the receiver, and it just kind of looked like he just threw it up.
Looked like he kind of Bernie Kosar'd it there. Very famous quarterback known for his sidearm throws, and we've got two wide receivers, and Shansky's going to do a quarterback draw, but he did not fool Jimmy Mulholland as he's going to pull him down from behind to bring up third down.
Mulholland came from his defensive end position there to make the tackle. A very nice play by Jimmy Mulholland on that one.
Wasn't a bad play call by the Ramblers. They had a wide receiver right and left and a couple of backs, and Shansky dropped back, looked like he was going to throw, and then just went ahead on the quarterback draw, but it didn't work out. It's going to bring up third down and long inside the Viking 40-yard line. Split right, split left, pro formation backfield for Shansky. Shansky's going to drop back, looking to throw. No one over there as there was contact between number 27, John Hohenstein, and number 5, Nathan Cahill, but there was no flag on the play. It looked like it was coincidental contact, but that's going to bring up a 4th and long for the Ramblers.
Looked like Shansky was just a little bit rushed on that one, and maybe Hazlitt's penetration there and couldn't make a good throw on that one.
He had to move out of the pocket quicker than he wanted to, but he had time once he got out. I'm wondering why he didn't wait for longer to throw, but here comes the Perry punt, and there's a little bit of pressure, but he's going to get it off, and it heads towards the corner, and it takes another Hazlitt bounce, and Perry's going to pick it up at about the 16-yard line. That's where the Vikings will take over here. 5:43 remaining here in the second quarter. In case you're just joining us here on TV 25, I'm Evan Woodward along with Jeff Mulder bringing you coverage of tonight's game. The Vikings are leading 14-0 and have just taken the ball back at their own 16-yard line.
So we'll see if Hazlitt can move the ball, maybe pick up another touchdown or a field goal.
How big of a possession do you think this is, Jeff?
It's a very big possession to take the... Hazlitt wants to take momentum into halftime, and Perry, with a big stop, could take the momentum into halftime and possibly get the ball out and maybe score.
Vikings have got a split left, and Shively's going to put the ball in the air. Well, he's going to roll to his left. We've got a holding call behind the play as he threw it there, intended for number
81,
excuse me. It's Chad Myers. We've got a holding call on the play, I believe, is what's going to be the call there. Usually when an umpire throws a flag in the interior line, it's not good news for the offense, and that's what the call is here.
That's really going to hurt Hazlitt because that's going to put them inside their own 10-yard line. And it's definitely not what an offense wants. A 1st and 20 inside their own 10. We got a replay here.
It's very damaging here. Now, anytime you've got a quarterback running around, you're going to get holding calls, and there it is right there. Actually thrown by the referee himself, but was a good call because holding was occurring there on that play. It is getting a little chilly up here in case you've been hearing Jeff cough so far tonight. It's the October weather is starting to set in here, and
very nice night for football, though.
Yes, actually it's pretty clear and a little bit of wind, but otherwise perfect. Shively. Long cadence before he hands it to Shepard off the left side. He's got plenty of room. Shepard finding daylight off towards the sideline. Finally brought down by Shansky.
He's going to be very close to a 1st down there, and Shepard shows his speed right there. He got outside, and
Shepard picked up a good 17 yards there on that play, Jeff. Great blocking, but a great run there by Shepard.
Shows his speed on that one.
Here's another look at this play. Where do you think that hole comes from there, Jeff?
The guard on the right side there pulling over and trapping and kicking out that defensive end.
Had a great block there. And Shively, and they're going to give it to Shepard again. No, it went to Ehrig, actually. Boy, Shively's fakes are really top-notch tonight, Jeff. That's about the 3rd time I've been faked out by him.
Yes, you're not quite on top of your game tonight there.
I can see very well, but Shively has just been doing a great job. And actually, a lot of people forget the other half of the fake is the back carrying it out, and it looked to me like Shepard was running free there on the left-hand side for a moment. But anyhow, Ehrig picks up the Viking 1st down at about the 34-yard line. Shively's going to go back and pass again. Not a lot of pressure. He's got Barnhart wide open, and he drops it inside the 40. And the throw was a little behind him again, but definitely catchable, and Barnhart's got to pull that one in there, Jeff.
If you get the ball onto his fingertips or his hands, receiver's got to make the catch, and Logan knows he should have had that one.
It's going to bring up 2nd down and long for the Vikings. I think this is a very important possession, Jeff, because if the Vikings are able to go down and score here, it's going to mean they have a 3-touchdown lead, which is really going to put the Ramblers at a loss. But if they don't score here, they leave the Ramblers, you know, right back within striking distance. They can get right back in this game with one play. And here's Shively. He's going to hand it to Eric off the right side. He's got some room, cuts it back up the middle, and he's going to pick up about 12 yards on that play. Great run there by Eric.
So it looks like the offensive line of Hazlitt and the running backs have now come to play after a little bit of sloppy football in the first part of that first quarter, and they're starting to pick up 8 to 12 yards each time they carry the ball.
A little bit of a slow start for the Vikings, but now they've definitely started to pick things up. Wing T backfield. Shively is going to give it to Shepard off the left-hand side, and he's going to barrel forward for about 5 yards on the carry. We're going to go back down to our field correspondent, Josh Hoisington. Josh.
What are your thoughts on our football team?
I think they're great, especially compared to Everett's team. We're 0-8 probably right now, so it's real fun.
That's good. That's good. We are good this year. Now back to Evan.
Back up here in the booth. And actually, a correction there on that Everett record. I know they've at least won one game so far this year. I'm not sure. I'm not trying to dog them. I know that I think they defeated Holt a few weeks ago. We have a couple transfer students, and there's a nice pass there to Ryan Walker on the far sideline, and he's going to pick up the first down and a lot more. As Shively rolled back, he had plenty of time, and Perry didn't have that bad of coverage, and they managed to pick up everyone, but Walker had a few steps on his man, and that's all you need to complete a pass.
Well, usually you used to seeing Ryan Walker over on the other side of the ball playing defense and making interceptions, but it's nice to see him get in on the offensive side and make a catch.
There's no question if Ryan Walker has got the hands. He's picked off 4 passes from his cornerback position on defense and showing that he can catch the ball there. And we've got the wing T backfield here for the Vikings. And Shively gave it to Shepard, and they fooled everyone except for number 6 there, Mike Vanetta. And just here's another look at this play. The pass to Walker. As you can see, he had some steps on his man and able to get open and get that pass.
On that last play, if he doesn't make the tackle, Shepard's going for a touchdown because there's nobody else over on that side.
Everyone else was fooled on the fake, and Shively with the long count, I think drew the Ramblers offside because I didn't see any of the Viking players move, and the whistles were blown here.
Looks like the offensive line's starting to get used to Shively again, and Perry's defensive line's having a little bit of trouble, as we've seen them move.
It is going to be an offside.
A few times tonight.
It is going to be an offside call on the Ramblers. The Ramblers definitely very jumpy on the defensive line, and the Vikings had that early call for false start, but since then they've been doing pretty good. Only about a yard to go here for the Vikings. About 2 minutes, 50 seconds remaining here in the half. Shively. And he's going to give it to Shepard off the left side. Held up there by a few Ramblers, but he's still going to manage to pick up about 2 yards. It's going to be plenty for the first down for the Vikings. And the Viking offense starting to become kind of a machine, Jeff. They just keep moving the ball in small doses against the Ramblers, slowly pushing their way towards the end zone.
Well, like we said before, you got an offensive line that's experienced like Hazlitt has. You're going to move the ball on a lot of people.
Shively playing very well tonight, throwing the ball very effectively. Gets under center, and he kept it again off the left side. Not going to have too much room over there, as not all the Ramblers were faked out on that play.
Shively showing good hard running, though. And
that's always good to see in a quarterback, especially in the wing T offense. You've got to be a strong runner, not be afraid to be hit, and Shively's definitely shown that he's the kind of quarterback that can run this offense and run it very, very effectively. He's able to drop back and throw the ball as well as keep it and run. Second down, 9 yards to go for the Vikings. Shively, I couldn't tell who he gave it to. It looks like it ended up going with Eric off the right-hand side, and he pushes forward for quite a chunky yardage. And a big reminder for Viking fans and alumni, next week's game against Gaylord is going to be at 7 o'clock, not 7:30. It's going to be an early start. Gaylord's got a long ride home. And so just a reminder to all Viking fans, the game next week is going to start at 7 o'clock. But the Vikings have pushed forward here, and they've got a first down and 10 inside the Perry 10-yard line. Shively rolls right, looking to throw. End zone, he's got two men wide open, and he overthrows him. Overthrew number 81, Chad Myers, and you can't ask for a better opportunity than that. He had two men wide open. And Jeff, I think if I'm Shively there, I just kind of lob the ball up and just let my receiver catch it.
Looked like he could have just lofted it up, but he tried to make a good pass and
maybe just overshot him there. I mean, probably very surprised to see they had two men wide open and there were no red shirts there to try to stop them. Anyhow, it's going to bring up second down. Shively. And he's going to hand it to Ehrig, and he cuts back up the middle. And he gets in for the score. And the Vikings are going to go up 20-0 here on the Ramblers late in the first half.
What a cutback there by Ehrig. He saw just a little bit of a hole and made the most of it.
Ehrig playing very, very well here tonight. Showing that he's got great vision for a back, Jeff. He's made quite a few cutbacks that have picked him up many, many extra yards here tonight. And J.J. Danhoff is going to attempt the extra point here for the Vikings. Once again, Saltzgaber to hold. Can't ask for a more sure-handed man. Plays quarterback and tight end. There's the kick, and it's good. And the Vikings going up 21-0 on the Ramblers here late in the first half. Got a minute 12 remaining here. Perry's going to get the ball back with all three of their timeouts remaining, Jeff, and it is possible that they could put a drive together here. Their offense has been on again, off again, but they could get something moving here.
You got to figure to get something going, they're going to have to go to the air, and if they're going to go to the air, Perry's offensive line is going to have to give Shansky just a little bit more time to throw the balls. Every time he's dropped back to throw it tonight, there's been a host of Vikings around him.
Not only is Shansky going to have time to drop back and throw, he's going to have people to throw to. Throwing against cover corners like Nathan Cahill and Ryan Walker is not an easy thing to do.
Very good corners for Haslett this year. And Cahill last year was a first-team All-League selection, and both could be on their way to that again this year. Both playing very solid for the Vikings.
I'm sure that Walker, with already 4 picks on the year, definitely up on the top of the list, as well as Cahill again. Danhoff set to kick here. Shansky is back deep to receive for the Ramblers. He's going to kick it short off the left-hand side, and it's going to bounce and nearly fumbled it. Maybe it was. I can't see where the ball is now. Actually, it was finally recovered by the Ramblers, but Jeremy Telfor was down there to make first contact. But Perry is not going to have good field position. They're going to take the ball over at about their own 14-yard line.
Great hit there by Telfor as he ran right through his lanes, and the ball just kind of ended up in his lane, and he made the play.
The crowd seems unusually lively, unusually not too lively, that is. They, not too many students showed up here tonight, but they don't seem as excited as they usually are here, Jeff.
Possibly because Perry's not that good, as good of a team as before.
And the run is going to go off the left-hand side. Shansky doing a nice job of running out the fake. Actually had the corner biting there and following him.
Like number 34, Mark Hammond.
A good run there, picking up about 5-6 yards. Perry allowing this clock to run. You got to think maybe they're just going to elect to take it into the locker room at 21-0.
It looks like that's what Perry's going to do.
You really can't afford a turnover here at this stage in the game if you're Perry. They're going to keep it on the ground, but he's got room off the right side. Finally brought down by Cahill and Williams. The run was by number 34, Mark Hammond, and he found some room in a first down, which is going to stop the clock momentarily at 29 seconds. The Ramblers.
Clock ticking away, though. 20 seconds left in this first half.
with the I formation. Shansky's going to throw. He's under pressure from number 30, and we've got a late hit call, and that is going to go against number 95, Jeremy Telfor, who jumped on late, and that is not good. Roughing the passer. That's going to be an automatic first down for the Ramblers, and that's not exactly, Hazlitt does not need that here in this situation.
Not a
Jeff.
smart play in that situation. Is very, very good call by the ref. He was definitely late on the hit there. And
yeah, the Vikings were just about ready to take this thing into the locker room at 21-0, and
Jeremy needs to be a little bit smarter than that.
Jeremy's been playing very, very good football so far this year, but maybe he didn't see exactly what was going on at the time. And Jeremy, a great defensive player, stepped it up big time for the Vikings this year. Telfor's had 4 sacks on the year and picked up a fumble recovery.
He's a very aggressive player, and he just showed his aggressiveness on that one, and it just cost him just a little bit there, just a little bit late.
Yeah, the penalty's not going to hurt Hazlitt terribly, but it's definitely going to complicate things as they'd be in the locker room right now had it not happened. We've got 10.6 seconds remaining in the first half as Perry electing to take that time out, and we're going to go back down to our field correspondent, Josh Hoisington. Josh?
I'm here with David and Tim. So do you guys think that this football team this year is going to be a positive change for Hazlitt sports in general?
Oh yeah, the football team's going to help all the school spirit and get some more interest, help out the school basketball team, get more people at the games. It's going to help us out all around.
All right, David, do you have anything to add to that?
No, Tim pretty much summed it up.
All right. Yes, I agree. I know that I'm more spirited seeing our football team with a record like this. So back to you, Evan.
And as we know, it was not all champagne and caviar for this Viking football team. When the senior class first stepped in here, on the freshman level, they ended the season at a 1-8 record. Jeff and I were both members of that team, and it was one of the longest, most grueling seasons I think I've ever been a part of. And there were a lot of hardships for this team, and this club has come a very long way from 1-8 freshman year. Now it's 7-0, and I'm not saying the seniors did it by themselves. The juniors have definitely helped out a lot. Shansky's going to throw behind his man, and 6.2 seconds remaining here in the first half.
A little surprised there at that call. Is Shansky throwing it out on the left side of the field there, and if
that's a difficult throw to make when you're rolling to your right and you're right-handed quarterback and you're going to throw back across your body to the left-hand side.
And you throw it, and you're throwing it way away from the rest of the team like that. If someone makes an interception, then they got a lot of field to work with.
Yeah, definitely a dangerous play. Perry's going to have trips out to the right, and they got one man in the backfield. And Shansky hands it up the middle. We got a penalty flag. And as we know, a quarter cannot end on a defensive penalty. Let's see what happens here. The clock reads 0, but it's going to depend which way this penalty is going to go.
If the play's on,
it's going to be false start on Perry, but the Vikings are going to decline that, I assume, and go into the locker room here. A good, solid first half from the Vikings. They're going to go in leading 21-0. Kind of a sloppy start, but the Vikings definitely picking it up later there, Jeff.
Yeah, they started a little bit slow, but hasn't picked it up and started playing like they normally do. And looks like Perry's up against a tough comeback here.
Yeah, Perry's going to have a long way to go if they want to get back in this game tonight. And I think Hazlitt throwing the ball as effectively as they have, and it's really started to open things up for the running game. Perry's not going to be able to cheat and put a lot of men up in the box. And the Vikings being able to have that throwing option has really added a lot to the offensive repertoire. And Shively can definitely throw the ball, Jeff. I mean, how would you critique him in that first half in throwing performance?
Maybe just a few times, 2 or 3 times, he just overthrew his receiver. But other than that, he's been throwing some really, really nice balls. His receivers dropped a few. But other than that, Hazlitt's offense is just starting to click now.
Hazlitt's been doing very, very well here tonight after that slow start. They got to just stay away from the penalties in the second half, and everything will be fine. But here at halftime, for your enjoyment, we've got the Hazlitt Band, fresh back after their Division I rating at the festival. And the band is headed by James McCaffrey, the director, and the drum major this year is Robin Vayatz. And we're going to hand it over to the band here. Enjoy the halftime show on TV 25 Sports. We'll be back with the second half after the band is done.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing 1998 Hazlet High School Viking Marching Band, under the direction of Mr. James E. McCaffrey and Mr. Gregory J. Lindsay. Drum Major Robin Litz is the band ready to present their First Division award-winning show this evening. The band begins their 1998 presentation, A Salute to Broadway Musicals, with the jazz prologue from the popular Broadway musical, City of Angels. Now, listeners to Broadway musicals, if you complete without including a tune from one of the many popular melodies made famous by the incomparable Barbra Streisand. The band continues their presentation with one of Streisand's first hit musicals, Funny Girl. We feature our color guard to the driving theme, Don't Rain on My Parade. The band concludes the festival presentation with a beautiful and compelling ballad from the Tony Award-winning musical A Chorus Line. Here's the lush Marvin Hamlish ballad, What I Did for Love. The Hazard Marching Band was directed by Mr. James E. McCaffrey and Mr. Greg Lindsay. Under the instruction of Ms. Tricia Mason. Next instructors are Mr. Daniel Foley and Mr. Kevin McCaffrey. Announcing this evening in Dennis Lindsay and Mr. David Rock. Ladies and gentlemen, there they are, the 1998 Hazard High School Viking Marching Band.